I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Sam Raphael, entrepreneur of the Jungle Bay Resort here in the Commonwealth of Dominica. Sam, welcome, and thank you for welcoming me to your home.
Thanks,
and your business.
Thanks much.
Well, you really are an inspiration. The module I teach is called Occupational Justice, and at the heart of that for my health practitioners, it's about appreciating that there are many contexts to people's lives, and the context can be empowering, enabling, allowing people to find ways to achieve a sense of wellness and well-being. When I come to the Jungle Bay Resort, I feel a sense of oneness and a connection to nature. Tell us a little bit about the resort. How old is the resort, and how many clients or customers do you take in, and how many staff do you employ?
First of all, let me welcome you to Jungle Bay. Maybe we can just walk around and talk while we walk, if that's okay. Yeah, well, Jungle Bay is an eco-tourism resort. So it's a little different than the traditional Caribbean resorts. Traditionally in the Caribbean, people came here just to get away from the cold. So they wanted to lay out on the beach and get sunburned, and that was what they considered a vacation. But people are a little more nuanced now, and they're into, as you mentioned, health and wellness. So they, on their vacation, want to rejuvenate their minds, their bodies, and their souls. And for instance, we're walking right past the spa here at Jungle Bay, which is a major part of the experience coming from Jungle Bay. We also do yoga classes and other wellness things, along with also taking them on a lot of nature hikes. And Dominica is known for its natural attractions. We take them to waterfalls or snorkeling or kayaking, and also feed them good, healthy, tasty dishes. And so that's the experience. So they come to this place and they get an in and out experience to prepare them to get back to London, or whatever it is, wherever they go through. And we learn in our whole lives, we're a lot more complex and complicated. We're not machines, and we really need to somehow re-energize our being and who we are. Jungle Bay is a childhood concept that I've sort of nurtured and developed ever since I was a small kid. I was introduced to the environment sort of by default, because my parents were village farmers, and they migrated out like many people from these islands, either migrate to the UK or the US for a better life for their children. But early on, I wanted to come back and do something that's different. Tourism in the Caribbean had traditionally not been something that local people had control over. So as a Caribbean person, I wanted to do something to create a replicable model for future generations to see, and not just to repeat what had been done before, but to take it sort of to the next level. And that's what we try to create. We opened Jungle Bay, this particular property, in 2019, but it has a history. We had a predecessor. The original Jungle Bay was a bit smaller, and we opened that in 2005, but we kind of grew too big for our britches. So we needed to get a new location where we can have more rooms and more activities and more amenities. So that's sort of what we've created. We now employ over 100 people at this establishment, so a lot of livelihoods for the local people, so they don't have to immigrate now, like my generation, my parents or your parents had to immigrate to the UK. So they can stay here and create a livelihood for themselves, opportunities either through trade, in farming, in arts and crafts, in transportation, other services, or direct employment. And so they can provide a livelihood and also achieve their potential. And they can stay home and help to develop their country while providing, we say, health and wellness service for people coming out of the UK. Because when you're in this industrial setting and this stressful setting, you need to get away to a place like this with all the plants. We have about 75 different varieties of tropical fruit trees, sour sops and sugar apples and lots of mangoes, lots of star fruits and all kinds of interesting things that you would imagine. So it just kind of went back to nature and created a Garden of Eden experience where we can provide, like I said, the livelihood for the people and an amazing, experience for persons, not just vacation, because we we don't look at it just as vacation, but as you say, it's wellness. It's about natural health and wellness, and if you can combine this together, then you have that whole life experience. And I think this ties into exactly what it is that you are promoting and you're teaching about.
Thank you. Sam, one of the things that I first felt when I arrived, I felt a sense of freedom, relief, but I also felt safe. There was this, and I say it almost like you in the bosoms of a comforting parent. I felt safe. And what added to that were memories, the architecture, the imitation thatch, which is over 100 years old. I used to see that as a little boy in the 1970s when I first used to come. You've weaved that into the architecture. The timber work is fine crafted, strong timber, and a nice strong finished timber. The internal is high spec internal, so you feel even comfortable as you lay down on the bed. The mosquito nets are like a relief, nicely tied in a bow, and providing warmth and security again when you go to sleep at night. There's detail, Sam. The way the stones are laid out on the path, the way the brick or the stone exterior on some of the buildings are finely crafted. Tell us about how the workforce came together.
Well, you just mentioned like 20 stories. So this is really a lot. But at the core of it, all the work was done by local people in Dominica. And for instance, you mentioned the stonework. We have a lot of interesting stonework at Jungle Bay, and all the stones came from the property. So we didn't have to bring any in, not even from outside of the property. We tried to excavate at a minimum, and whenever we did, it's a volcanic island, so we have lots of stone. But we took the stones and we had the local craft people cut them, face them, make, like you say, make them sort of smooth on the side and use them as building materials. Well, what that did was that it helped to revitalize the old trade of stonemasonry, which was being lost to more modern building techniques. And it also enabled us to keep the money flowing in the local community. Because if you can keep that money circulating in the local community, that's more real, support for households, livelihoods for the family and so on, less money going outside, So those are some of the techniques that we use. We try to preserve the traditional way because it's all about heritage and culture. So you want to preserve and to showcase the heritage and culture of Dominica, which is what we've done. Dominica is also a pretty safe island, so you would feel safe, but here we've kind of created this garden. You feel just so relaxed when you come here, and people just mention it, just a kind of vibe, like you mentioned, a kind of feel. We didn't really create it, I don't think. I think it was always here, but the way in which we put things together, it sort of enhanced that sensibility in people. So, you keep your voice low, you're always in a meditative state, when you're here, and just enjoying the cool vibes, walking, getting your exercise, and that's part of it. You just think you're emptying your cup of all the stress, all the things that you brought in, and you're taking in all of this new life and new energy so that you can take that feeling back with you when you get back to wherever home is.
We can't negate the reality of what nature does. We learn in school, don't we, that plants give off oxygen and they produce fruit, that the respiratory cycle. And you mentioned earlier on about the different types of plants, but it does rejuvenate. You're getting good nutrients. I understand that some of the produce in the kitchen come from here, from the land too. Yes. So can you give us examples of some?
Right now we're harvesting bananas, we're harvesting mangoes, we're harvesting root vegetables, we're harvesting many other things from the land. And there's no better feeling than to go and pick your own pineapple, or go pick your own avocados, and to really feel there's an avocado tree right there. I can just walk with you now and you pick your own, So there's no feeling like picking fresh organic things that's all around you and enjoying them, and they're still full of life, So that's definitely a part of the experience. And Dominica is so lush, and the climatic conditions are so ideal for propagation of tropical plants that we were able to get all the plants locally from Dominica and just plant them, and then within 3 years almost everything is bearing fruit already, you know. And we've got kashima on here, and sugar apples, and figs, and usual guavas, and so someone told me that the restaurant isn't going to do very good business because when they walk from the villa to the restaurant, they pick and eat so much that they're full by the time they get to the restaurant. So I have to figure a new business model for that. I lose all the restaurant and everything. But I'm being light-hearted with that. That's exactly the experience that we'd like people to feel. We're going back to nature as humans in a very safe, very comfortable, barefoot luxury experience that your kids can come and enjoy, and people of any age, you know, even fitness level can come and really enjoy and take back with them, you know, that wonderful feeling, that wonderful feeling of rejuvenation.
Sam, you've got a diverse workforce, and that matches, if you like, a diverse customer base. So tell us about the diversity of your workforce. You mentioned heritage, and I think of the Kalinago, the first people.
Yeah. So we have people of Amerindian heritage still in Dominica. You know, some of them work here. You know, we have people of, you know, most people in Dominica are African heritage, you know, because of the history of enslavement in the Caribbean. And then we have people who have come in from Europe and other places and have joined. So, you know, you don't dictate, you know, your origin, but you dictate where you're comfortable. And so we've just sort of pulled in people who are comfortable, who are like-minded. That's the only thing, your like-mindedness, and you appreciate nature. And just like our customers, they come from all over. Most come from the US actually, but many also come from Europe, places like the UK, France, and Germany, and so on, because this is exactly what they're looking for in terms of that experience, you know. So it kind of goes well hand in hand, you know. And but everyone, whatever the background, they have a common appreciation for the natural environment. They have a common appreciation for empowering people, and for our guests, this is very important. The sense that they know they're in a locally owned establishment, locally operated, and they feel that, you know, they're making a contribution to humanity by supporting that.
Yes. Sam, I know you're probably quite humble, but I heard a story about you that following the
Don't believe anything you hear about.
Following the devastation caused by Hurricane Maria, the mountain rocks were damaged the road, plus the rainfall, and as a follow-on from your building project, you helped to repair the main highway. There was a sense of wanting to have a connection with the local village, and you know,
well, I think it goes deeper than that. In that, when you live on a small island, you are part of that community. And if you need to fix the road, where is that support going to come from? If you need to, whatever you need to do, so it's almost a natural communal sense that you have to have on an island to survive. Everyone's got to help the guy, the fish man or woman on the bay. They come in with a boat. They can't pull in their boat themselves. So if you're there, you have to help them to pull in the boat. You know, if someone needs help in the village, you have to help them, and it'll come right back to you. So there is a sense of a village and of a community, and certainly we're very integrated in that. We're very much part of that. So yes, we do support the community quite a bit. Right now, we're in the process of doing 2 projects. One of them is the development of a preschool. So we are developing a preschool in the Sufria village, which will take care of young students. You know, early childhood education, early childhood development is critical to the development of a community. And we've taken the responsibility to rebuild a school that was destroyed by Hurricane Maria in 2017. You know, they've been using an apartment building to shelter the kids for the early childhood development, and we as Jungle Bay, we're designing and completely building and handing over the key for a brand new preschool, fully stocked, you know. So that's just an example of some of the things that we do on a community level, and that we have fun doing, and it makes a difference in the lives of the community, especially the young children, which are, you know, the future of this island.
Absolutely. Well, I could go on and on, Sam, but I think you are an inspiration, and I know you're humble. But I've really enjoyed talking to you, meeting you, and obviously benefiting from the hospitality and the service of all your staff, all levels. Everybody shares your vision, and it's authentic too. From the gardener to the concierge to the chef, and they care for families, care for my child anyway.
Yes,
so
of course.
I just want to really say thank you and wish you all the best in your pursuits. And not that you need my best wishes.
I appreciate it, and thank you for taking the word back to the UK. And again, this is not just tourism, but it's about wellness and about humanity, and we're just happy to be able to integrate this. Yeah? And welcome back to Dominica.
Thank you.